in general, it was just breathtaking, and so surreal that I was there. I had never seen a volcano erupting before in my life, so this was exciting. So we're on this hike, and some of the local people start talking about how the volcano erupted and how it's so amazing, and for every single one of the tourists, the people who don't live in, how much of an honor it was for us to be in Iceland at the time of the volcano eruption. So, my my friend and I are talking, and we decide to change our trip a little bit and go see the volcano. We went to rent the car, and when we were talking to the man behind the counter, telling him that we were thinking about going to see the volcano, he was like, "Are you going to see it now?" And we were like, "Yeah, we're going to go right away. As soon as we get this car, we are going to go and drive to the volcano." Well, it turns out that that was a bad idea. He says, "No, no, no. You don't want to drive to the volcano right now. You want to wait until it's nighttime." And we look and we say, "Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, because when it's dark out, the glow, the light from the volcano will look way prettier. It'll be more red, it'll be more drastic, it'll be more beautiful." So we say, "Okay, that makes sense." But then we realized we're in Iceland. And Iceland is so far north that in the summertime, this was probably June, in the summertime, the sun barely even sets. It barely even gets dark. So the sun doesn't go down below the horizon. It doesn't set until 1 in the morning. So we say, "Okay, we'll go at night." I'm with my friend, and we're doing, some other tourist destinations. Iceland is cool. During the day, my friend is reading online about the volcano. And, it had just erupted. That day was the first day that they were allowing anybody to go and see the volcano. And there was a lot of warnings and cautionary guidelines for going to visit. And one of the things that they said is that it's very possible that at any time there will be colorless and odorless gases, poisonous gases that can come from the ground. So it's a gas that will kill you or knock you out, that you can't see, doesn't look like anything, it's totally clear, and also you can't smell. So really, if this happens to you, you'll sort of just pass out. And maybe you'll get a little bit sleepy, and then all of a sudden you'll pass out and fall asleep, and it can be dangerous. So naturally, she was a little bit nervous to do this, and it was nighttime, and we actually hadn't had dinner yet, and all of this, these reasons that maybe it wouldn't make sense to go, and it wouldn't make sense to go to see this volcano. But I, for some reason, in my heart, needed to see this volcano. I really, really wanted to make sure that, I felt that at this time in my life, I needed to really make sure that I was seizing every opportunity to see and experience the world. And this seemed like such a special moment. And the way that people, the local people, the Icelandic local people, were talking about how special it was, I just needed to find a way. So at 9 p.m., I left our hotel, and I drove for 2 hours. I drove for 2 hours by myself, and I arrived at the start of the trail at 11 p.m. And on my way to the trail, I was really becoming nervous. psyching myself out, if you will. I was thinking, wow, this is really stupid. I really shouldn't be doing this alone. There's a lot of time to think about all the bad things that can happen when you're driving for 2 hours alone. But then I got there, and there were a lot of people, and the Icelandic government does an amazing job of having volunteers and all kinds of people who want to help allow others to safely experience the natural beauty and the natural wonder of what Iceland has to offer. So I felt a lot more confident, but I still had to hike the volcano. So I started on my path, and I was carrying all my photography equipment, my camera, my drone, all of the important equipment that you would need to sort of capture an amazing event like this. And you're sort of walking through this, gravelly sort of rolling hills. And, I started to question, is this even going to be cool? Is it small? I really didn't know what to expect. And at some point I walked over a rolling hill, and I started to see an amazing orange glow. And at this time, midnight, getting closer to 1 a.m., the sun is starting to set. So it's getting a little bit, you start to see the glow coming over the hills of this volcano, this orange red glow, and the smoke coming from the hole in the earth. And I got really excited. My heart started racing. I got really, really excited. So I started walking a little faster, and eventually I got there. And I don't even have words to describe sort of the awe and the wonder and just the breathlessness that I had when I saw this volcano. And I kept going closer and closer, and you could see where the volcanic, where the lava from the volcano was flowing, and you could tell that some of the ground was very hot and smoking, and some of the ground was cool and safe to walk on. And I was able to walk remarkably close to the volcano, maybe 500 meters or half a mile, within half a mile of the eruption. And in general, it was just breathtaking, and so surreal that I was there. It was also very cold. It was very cold. So I took some photos. I took out my drone, and I flew my drone around and captured the greatest video that I have ever taken in my life, and probably the greatest video that I ever will take in my life. And I even FaceTimed my parents. I called them, and I was like, I needed to share the experience with somebody. And yeah, I really, really, it was a very surreal moment, almost a spiritual moment, where I'm at this volcano. And I think I was there for almost an hour. And then it got too cold, and I started heading back. But in that moment, I felt something really important. And I think that there's an interesting lesson that I'm so happy that I decided to sort of ignore the warnings, and I decided to drive for 2 hours and hike for 2 more hours, just to see something in nature that I didn't really know what it would be like. After that, I was able to walk back. I still had a 2-hour walk back and a 2-hour drive back. I got back at maybe 5 or 6 in the morning, slept for a few hours, and then we were on our way for the next day of our road trip. I feel so grateful to be able to experience that incredible moment, a moment that I feel I'm continuing to chase. Something that I want to experience again, but something that is truly special and truly hard to find. So thank you for letting me share this story with you. If you want to hear more stories like this, as well as travel content, tech content, and really just slightly slower, slightly simpler English to help you get from an intermediate to advanced level, subscribe to my videos. I hope you like this. Leave any comments if you have any questions, and tell me what you liked about this video and what you want to see more of. Thank you so much.